Hey everybody, Moose on the Loose Mel here. Today I thought I would just make a short little video explaining how I decide when I'm going to start my seeds indoors. So I've gathered all my supplies here. I have my calendar and some seeds and a pad of paper and a pen. And I start off by going online. There's lots of websites that will do this, but I personally use the Almanac website because it's tried, tested, and true. I'll provide a link down below. You just punch in your postal code or your zip code and it will give you your last frost date for your area. So for me, that is May 15th. So I'm just going to circle May 15th on my calendar as my last frost date. And what is meant by last frost date is just they take an average of past years of the last heavy frost in the spring, because if you put your plants out and the heavy frost comes, it's just going to kill all your plants. So that's what that is. Now I've just written out a list for myself of the seeds that I'm going to be planting this year. I try to do it alphabetically, and I also included my herbs and my flowers. Now there are certain seeds that you don't want to start indoors. They just don't transplant well or they grow too quickly. But there are other things that you do, such as your brassicas, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, and cabbage. So I'm just going to grab some of the seeds here. I've got them set aside of the ones that I am going to be starting indoors. So let's start with the broccoli and take a look at the package. So this package says mid-March to early April, okay? And this package says 4 to 5 weeks, okay? And the broccolini says April transplant 4 to 6 weeks later. It's worded a little funny, but it's still the same thing. You're just working backwards. So now I'm going to start my list. So I will write down plant as a header, and I will write the plant names underneath that. And then I'll write before frost date, because I'm going to be doing them before my last frost date. Okay, so broccoli. I think we can say the consensus on those packages was 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm going to write down 4 to 6 weeks. And I'll just show you one more time. So the back of the package says to start your seeds indoors 4 to 6 weeks. And that's what I've written down, 4 to 6 weeks. Next up is Brussels sprouts. So I will write that down. Brussels and sprouts. And then I'll flip it over. And this says 4 to 5 weeks. This is exactly the same as the other package, I guess because it's the same brand. But I'll just write that down, 4 to 5 weeks. And the next one I'm going to do is onions. So the package says 6 to 8 weeks. So this one's a lot longer. So I'll just write it down, onions, 6 to 8 weeks. And next up is peppers. So I'll flip it over. Oh, this one's set up a little bit different. Where is it? Okay, yep. Start your seeds indoors mid-February. So instead of giving you like a week time frame, it's mid-February. So I'll just write that down, mid-February. And finally, I will be doing tomatoes. And that one is 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. So I'll just write that one down. Tomato, 6 to 8 weeks. Now there are other seeds that I am personally going to be starting indoors, but I just wanted to do a handful of them for the video just so you get the idea of what it is that I'm doing. So now I'm going to start putting them in the calendar. I take my list and I look at the 4 to 6 weeks. So let's go back to the calendar to my last frost date, which was May 15th, and I'm going to start counting backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now I'm just going to write broccoli in that box, and that is 6 weeks before my last frost date. And the package said 4 to 6. I like to give it the full 6 just to give it as much time as possible. So on April 3rd, I'll be starting my broccoli seeds indoors. I'll just put a little check mark, and my next seed is Brussels sprouts, 4 to 5 weeks. So instead of just writing it in the box underneath, let's just do it again for practice. So back to May 15th, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'll just write Brussels in this box. And as you can see, on April 10th, I'll be starting Brussels sprout seeds indoors. Yay! Next thing I'm going to do is onions. So 6 to 8 weeks. So let's go back to our last frost date, May 15th, and count backwards 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, and then I will just write onion in this box. So as you can see, on March 20th, I'll be starting onion seeds indoors. So next up on our list is peppers, mid-February. Oh, tomatoes are 6 to 8. Oh, I forgot check marks. So tomatoes are exactly the same as onions, so let's just write tomato in the same box as onion. All right. Now we'll do the peppers. So mid-February. Let's go back one more month to the middle of February. Oh, Valentine's Day, yes. Let us plant some peppers on Valentine's Day, shall we? I'll just write peppers in the box. Okay, so back to my list. Like I said, I'm gonna do the brassicas. What else? The cucamelons, the ground cherries. I'll start those indoors. Nope. The onions. No. Peppers, yes. No. Most of my herbs I'll be starting indoors, as well as some of the flowers. So here I just wrote out a list of seeds to start indoors and start outdoors, with a couple of exceptions that you could do inside or outside. But this is not an extensive list by any means. There's things that I'm just not interested in planting. We don't eat them, like eggplants, stuff like that. Pumpkins, they just take up too much room. So they're not on my list. I'm not going to be growing them. But yeah, as I explained earlier, there's just certain ones you want to start inside to get a jump start on the season. And then these sort of plants over here, some of them just don't like to be transplanted. They don't do well once you remove them from the inside and put them outside in the dirt. Some of them are root vegetables, and when you disturb those roots, that's it, you're done. And some of them just grow much too quickly to be started indoors. They don't thrive. You put the seeds right outside and they'll grow and they'll be happy, and then you'll be happy, and then everybody's happy. Yeah, there's a couple things that are on both lists, because I could start them indoors a couple weeks, get a jump start, but it's not necessary. I can also start them outdoors and they'll be just as happy. So essentially what I want you to take away from this is read the package and trust the package. So as I said earlier, beans are on the list to start outdoors, and if you look at the back, it actually says start seed outdoors. It explains it all right there. I had ground cherry tomatoes on my list to start indoors. And as you can see, it says right here, start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before last frost. And then I had dill on the list, as you could start it indoors or outdoors. And sow them outdoors in late May, or start them inside and transplant after danger of frost. So yeah, read the packages. They'll tell you everything you need to know. And that's how I decide when I'm going to be starting my seeds indoors. I truly hope you found something useful in this video to help you decide when you're going to be starting your seeds. If you found something useful, hit the thumbs up. Feel free to comment down below and tell me how you decide. And feel free to subscribe. See you later.